Source units have undergone such an evolution over the last few years due to drastic changes in the ways cars are built. However, with the advent of new and emerging technologies and features such as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, the demand for the complete technology bundle has Source units back in high demand. CMA Live, presented by SiriusXM, the Source Unit episode starts now.
Goes topics. I mean, yeah, let's talk about
Stop
it. Today we're gonna go
Yo,
topics.
roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on SiriusXM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of CMA Live presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and there's no argument. Source units have and always will be a critical part to any sound system. Now, although there's been a ton of challenges in the last, well, let's call it a year and a half, that hasn't stopped these brands from continuing to develop in hopes that obviously some of these supply chain issues are overcome and inventory is overcome. But, evolution, technology continues to advance. Tonight, we've got 5 big brands coming on to talk to us about what's new, what's going on, and what to expect over the next few months. Some have new hardware to share, and others have news to share. So we're going to dig deep one at a time and get you guys, the dealers, the goods on what's going on in the source unit category. Starting first with our very first brand and guest, man, it's in the name, Pioneer Electronics, a pioneer in the game for so long. Let's hear from their national product trainer. I'd like to welcome Mr. Harry Kroll to CMA Live.
Hey, Ben. Nice to see you, brother.
What's going on, Harry? Always a pleasure to have you on, sir.
Thank you.
You heard my little intro there. It has and always will be a critical component in the modern car audio sound system. I believe that to be true, although many things have changed,
Sure.
And has kind of seen that whole progression from the very beginning of the category source. In fact, it wasn't even source unit back then. I think it was more head unit. Now
Right.
moniker source unit is kind of taken over. Why don't you start, Harry, by sharing with us a little bit of the history of Pioneer in the source unit category?
Okay. Wow, Ben. Pioneer started with in-dash receivers back in the 1970s, and I'll make this story very short. Okay, back in the 1970s, there was a new thing happening in radio. FM radio was starting to take hold in the United States and in Canada, and there was a thing called album-based rock radio stations, and they were marvelous. People were starting to listen to album-based rock at home on FM radio because the sound quality was so great. But there was one little problem, and that was everybody would get in their car, and no one had invented a decent car radio yet. Everybody listened to AM radio in their car. You could get an FM radio, but as soon as you drove out of the radio station's parking lot, you got nothing but static. Pioneer invented a thing called Super Tuner. And Super Tuner was able to lock on to FM radio stations and give you quality FM in your car, get this, while you were driving. It was revolutionary at the time. And it literally is the reason that so many people listen to FM radio over the past 50 or so years and have transitioned from AM radio to FM because of the invention of Super Tuner. And since then, many other companies have, followed suit and done that sort of thing. And, go through a little bit of history with Pioneer, and you'll see that Pioneer invented detachable face security, first for cassette players and later for CD players. Pioneer brought you the first in-dash receiver that had navigation built into it. We're the first ones that brought you an in-dash receiver with navigation, and then an in-dash receiver DVD player with a flip-out screen that had navigation built into it. We were the first ones to develop just loads of different stuff. I mean, Apple CarPlay, Pioneer or Apple chose Pioneer to be their partner to launch Apple CarPlay. And later, Google would choose Pioneer to be their partner to launch Android Auto. and now it's on to Alexa in the car. There's just an amazing history with Pioneer and developing tons and tons of different technologies for those in-dash receivers that you see all over the place today.
Absolutely. What a pedigree. You know what I mean? If you're literally looking at an overall evolution of this category through Pioneer's eyes and all the innovations that you guys have done. So let's fast forward to 2021/2022. What can we highlight as far as the latest offering right now in the Pioneer catalog?
Okay, so I think that there's two different categories that I would like to touch on. The first is just regular audio in-dash receivers. Some people still want to have a CD player. Maybe if you're my age, you still want to have a CD player. Most younger people just want an in-dash receiver that's AM, FM, Bluetooth, and USB. Some guys, maybe you want a CD player or something like that. Good for you, but it's audio only in-dash receivers. And while this seems like a category, and certainly the category has declined over the years, but there's still exciting things happening in this category. And one of those exciting things is Pioneer's Smart Sync app. And the Smart Sync app works on your Android phone. It works on your iPhone. It gives you total control over the in-dash receiver. And really what it does is takes that one DIN radio that has, a 1 or 2 line display, and it gives you a full graphical user interface to operate that in-dash receiver with album art and everything else, because it's all happening on your phone. And then directly connected to the in-dash receiver. So for entry-level receivers, there's fun and interesting stuff that's happening and going on. And then for higher-end receivers, AV receivers, we have taken the receiver and broken it apart into 2 different pieces. Right. So you started out by saying how vehicles have changed, and we've seen more and more short chassis radios. Nearly every radio that we do that isn't a full depth CD player now, or DVD player has a shorter chassis to make installation easier. Well, we've taken that another step and separated the screen from that chassis piece that has all the electronics and all the connection built into it. So we separated into 2 different pieces: a flat panel display that can mount in the dash, and then a control unit that does all the ins and outs and what have yous for the in-dash receiver that you can mount somewhere else. And to me, this is an important part of the future of car audio installation, and then being able to, of course, integrate that with the vehicle. We're talking there about iDataLink Maestro RR, RR2, and hopefully things in the future. Plus, for another option, Metra Access, which is a very similar concept. But 2 different options for people like me who like some options.
I think you're illustrating exactly what's exciting in the Pioneer catalog right now. You've touched on some key elements between the application with the phone, which literally expands your user interface, right, to more screenage, if you will.
Yeah.
The fact that there's a modular 2-piece kit whereby custom installers have a lot more options now, right? Not only is the options available from a distance standpoint, from where you install the screen to where you're going to put, let's call it the brain, right?
Right.
That just opens a whole new world, and we've seen a couple examples of this. I want to dive a little bit deeper. Tell me more about some really unique features that Pioneer has to offer within these maybe higher end line of products.
Okay, so Apple CarPlay and Android Auto aren't so unique anymore. That's being seen across many different areas. But Pioneer has some very, very interesting and exciting things coming with Apple CarPlay that I can't dig into too much just yet, but very, very interesting and exciting things that you're going to see over the next couple of months with Apple CarPlay. And being able to control the in-dash receiver with CarPlay. There's some, if you think that CarPlay and Android Auto are done, let me just tell you that they are not done. Okay.
What we've seen
it's about to, pretty much we've seen CarPlay and Android Auto version 1. Version 2 is not that, or something like that is not on the too distant future. So you're going to see some very interesting things start to happen with that. And then I'm going to throw in, Alexa from Amazon and being able to do cool stuff with that. I did a video the other day for a dealer newsletter that we do, and it's called the drop-in feature. And I don't even know if most people don't even know you can do this. I can ask the in-dash receiver to drop in to my Echo device in my home, maybe in my kitchen or in the dining room. And I can effectively use it as an intercom to talk from my car to my wife or my kids in the house. And you might say, why don't you just make a phone call? But it's a little bit different because it's really just like an intercom, and I can drop in anywhere I want from the car, and they can return that call to me.
Wow. Even for me, this is new. I had no idea that feature even existed. Very, very cool. So, you've got these crazy Metra integration kits, vehicle specific solutions that, get to the website, go check that out for sure. Really neat Alexa capability. And now you're scratching the surface on maybe potential 2.0 versions of Android Auto / CarPlay. From a business perspective, Harry, if I'm a dealer watching here, Pioneer's been in the game so long. Refresh my memory why it's so important that I consider Pioneer as a premier business partner to me, the dealer.
Okay, Pioneer's been around a very long time, and this is a very stable business. You can see by the products that we develop and have developed over many years that we are in this game for the long haul, and Pioneer is truly one of the pioneers or leaders in this industry as we develop things going forward. Pioneer is a trusted brand and will remain a trusted brand, and the brand that you can use to put into a vehicle, it gets sold and it stays sold. And this is we have service centers around the countries. If you have troubles, Pioneer backs up this product and can repair it and replace it. And you can look to Pioneer to develop new products moving into the future. New things like cameras and in vehicle integration and integrating 5G into your life, into your in-dash receiver, and into your home all together at once.
You kind of stole my thunder from my final question, but I think we can expand a little bit more because you told, being a partner with Pioneer involves looking into the future and partnering with a brand that has that foresight, right? And that engineering behind it. But as far as products, is there anything you could tell us that's coming down the pipe in the not so distant future that we can expect to see from Pioneer?
All right. It is top secret kind of stuff. And so I really can't tell you about anything that is right around the corner, but I can tell you that Pioneer is opening its eyes to more things in the driver assistance category. And from that driver assistance category, it's more communication and like streaming devices inside your vehicle, not for just video and that sort of thing, but other options as well. And as 5G opens up those doors for us, that becomes very important. You also touched on very briefly onto the integration with Metra. That integration with Metra also deals directly with the in-dash integration. Right. So our partnership with Metra grows all the time with a continuously growing catalog of dash kits to make these unique receivers fit into many different vehicles.
Very, very cool. Harry, always a wealth of knowledge. And I want to say thank you for taking the time to come with us, share with us tonight all these details about the source unit category as far as Pioneer is concerned. Thank you so much.
Always happy to be here, Ben. My pleasure.
Have a good one.
You too.
So that was Harry Crow representing Pioneer Electronics. He is, of course, their national product trainer. Moving on to another, what I call a legacy brand in car audio, because I sure the heck love this brand growing up. Those darn chiclet buttons still get me all the time. And they still get me today. So I'm happy to have this brand on, of course, because they are continue to innovate and be a little bit different on so many different levels. And I'm hoping this gentleman will kind of shed the light on this and kind of give us up-to-date news as to how the catalog is going. His name is Eric Brooks. He's the new national product trainer for Alpine Electronics. Come on up, Eric.
Hey, Ben. How you doing?
Hey, Mr. Brooks. How are you? Thank you for making the time this evening.
Yep. Doing well.
Alpine is one of those brands that really, hit home to so many, people out there over the years, and it certainly has evolved as a brand. I'm interested to hear your take on updating us a little bit about, Alpine's history and where we're at now. Like, we always knew Alpine does source units. There's no question about it. But talk to us a little bit about its evolution.
So back in 1967, Alps and Motorola came together to build some products for the car audio market. And they really realized the need for a better solution for car audio. And in 1978, Alpine was formed, right? So since 1978, Alpine as a brand has really innovated and created products to give you better sound in your vehicle. It's all about sound, right? So key aspects of Alpine: needs to be easy to use, needs to be reliable, and needs to sound great. So over the years, Alpine's invested tons of money into these aspects of product. And, made iconic head units through the years, 7909, 7949, F number one status, CVA 1000, all kinds of really cool, innovative products that just are iconic in the industry, but then also made some really iconic speakers, amplifiers, and subwoofers too. So it's a whole line of products. You can outfit your entire vehicle with great sounding products from one brand. So yeah, I've been an Alpine fan since I was a teenager myself, so I consider myself very fortunate to be associated with Alpine.
Well, you absolutely, and I really dig that poster you have going on behind you with that Lamborghini. I mean, that is iconic in itself. I couldn't stop staring at it while you were talking there.
The Alpine Touch, yep.
So let's fast forward. Let's get up to speed now. The catalog, the offering has changed over the years, and it's really a modern offering today. Why don't you touch on a couple key elements in the current catalog?
Sure. So I'll tell you about a couple of head units that we have currently. One is a very, very popular head unit in the marketplace. It's called the Ilx W650. I happen to have one here. It's a 7-inch double din. It does Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all the latest in technologies. It has some really cool sound tuning capabilities. Again, it's all about sound. So it has a 9-band parametric EQ, selectable crossover with slopes, 6, 12, 18, 24 dB per octave. So you can really make your car sound the way that you want it to. Time correction built in. But you'll also notice this has a very slim chassis, right?
I was just going to say, it looks really thin.
Yeah. So this is really slim. And this product was actually developed to give a customer an option to add on to their system very easily. So we created this amplifier. This is called a KTA 450. And this thing will actually lock right into the back of the head unit, right? So you're still shallower than a standard double din chassis, right? And this is a 50 watt by 4 amplifier that has a very unique technology. It's called DPP, dynamic peak power, and it gives us double the output in bursts, right? So we can have a very powerful amplifier in a very, very small chassis, right? So these were developed together. So we have a very modern head unit that has all the latest in technologies, and it has an expandable, a sound system builder, if you will. So
without taking up extra space, like under the seat, I mean, it's right there if you have the space for it.
Another cool thing about this amp is, in a lot of vehicles, based on the power wire of the factory head unit, you could actually tie the KTA 450 into that factory wiring in many cases. So you don't even need to run a power wire to the battery with this. Very efficient.
Very OEM integration like.
Yep. So that's the 650. We also released earlier this year, it's called an Ilx 407. And it is kind of a big brother to the 650. Again, it has that shallow chassis, right? But it gives us some cool features to add on to the CarPlay and the Android Auto and the things that the 650 has. So some cool things about the 407 is it has 29 widgets that you can customize on the home screen. So you can actually set up your home screen to be your own. I mean, you can tell it how you want it to be, so you can quickly access your favorite apps right from the screen. It also has a customizable background, so you can put basically any JPEG you could throw up on here, and you can have a picture of your dog or your girlfriend or your car or whatever you want right on the screen of your head unit. So that's a pretty cool feature also. But really the big upgrades over the 650 is that it adds Maestro compatibility for vehicle integration, and it also adds HDMI input. So
HDMI input.
Yep. So you can now have your video in on the 407, and the 407 is also shallow chassis, right? So you can add that KTA 450, but we've even expanded it further with the power stack design, and we have something called the KTA 200M, which is a 200 watt monoblock amplifier that can mount right to the back of the head unit also. So in that case, it still has DPP, so it'll actually give you up to 400 watts of output. So you can have, use your head unit power with your crossovers going to your speakers in your vehicle, add that KTA 200M to add an easy bass solution to your vehicle. So it's a really great solution. It's been very well accepted in the industry, and we really are doing well with it.
Really cool. Not to mention, I mean, I do want to mention while we're here, we're talking about categories. Obviously, you're showing these double din solutions, which are shallow depth, but everybody loves the halos. Let's not forget about those as well.
Sure. So halos, we have 3 currently. So we have 2 that are similar in functionality with the software and the feature sets, and it's Ilx F409 and the Ilx F411. So this is a 9-inch LCD screen on a single din chassis. Now, what's great about the single din chassis is it gives us a little more versatility when doing installation, right? So if you have a double din hole, you can choose either the upper slot or the lower slot, and then take advantage of the additional adjustments for height and depth and tilt, all on those screens. So the 9-inch is great. It's huge. The 11-inch is a monster. So this thing is just massive, but very sleek, very elegant looking, the silver trim. And actually that halo design cue, we've trickled into other products, right? Like our halo subwoofer enclosures and our halo subwoofer knobs. So we have that same sleek look with the silver trim, the nice black finish. So Halo has its own design identity now, and we've kind of, we've introduced Halo several years ago, and we've noticed that other manufacturers are now, coming to the market with some similar things. So, we always have to keep trying to up our game.
Well, you know what? It's a trend starting kind of thing. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You got to call it what it is. And absolutely, Halo, I remember when that came out, I was like, oh my God, that's so gaudy, so big. Who wants that? Now all I want is a bigger screen, as big as possible. When is the 17-inch coming out? Come on, tell me, Eric.
Yeah, that would be pretty big, huh?
But did you think we'd have an 11-inch Alpine if I asked you this 10 years ago? You know what I mean?
A couple years ago, no, I thought 9 was, wow, 9 is huge.
Right.
So yeah, when the 11 came out, it's right now it's the biggest out there. So
absolutely,
we're going to enjoy it. We'll enjoy it while we can.
It's definitely that kind of piece, right? So you've touched on some really cool features. Let's talk about overall, from the Alpine brand. I'm a dealer. I used to sell Alpine. I'm thinking about getting back into it. Tell me about some key features that dealers need to know about when talking about Alpine source units.
So look, I was in retail for 10 years before I became a rep. And I've got to tell you, I sold Alpine. I was fortunate enough to be an Alpine dealer. And really what the things to remember with Alpine is, number one, the reliability of the product. Okay. When you sell it to the consumer, you can have confidence that it's gonna leave, it's gonna be reliable. You can also have confidence that it's gonna sound great. You're gonna give the customer what they're looking for with regards to sound, right? Because if they're coming into your store and they're trying to upgrade their stereo, probably they want better sound, right? So we can deliver that. So reliability, great sound, very easy to use. Many times you don't even need a manual. It's very simple to use these products, and that's important for the customer. And the other thing is a whole system solution approach, right? So they can know, hey, I have a great reliable head unit, I have a great reliable amplifier, I have great reliable speakers and subwoofers as well that are going to sound wonderful together, and they're going to give me a great experience. So that's kind of what it is.
And and that's kind of been the mantra for Alpine for many decades now. I mean, and it continues to stay true. Now let's switch. I'm going to put my business hat on now. As a business partner, how are you going to support me, the independent shop, as a brand, as a partner in business?
So we have a great partner in your neck of the woods, and they do a fantastic job for Alpine up there. And Alpine is going to continue to support our dealers through different POP and merchandising and all kinds of things that we can do.
We should mention Gentech, by the way. Gentech is the exclusive dealer in Canada for Alpine.
That's correct.
That's what you want to call.
That's correct. But there's been something that we've been doing over the course of the last year and a half, and we really made this shift to creating online media, right? So if you go to Alpine TV on YouTube, my friend Chris, he has this show he calls What's New to Goo, right? Got to give him a shout out. He does a fantastic job of talking about our products and giving the dealers really something that they can share through their own social media and their advertising. I have my own channel also. It's called, show also. It's called Inside Look with Alpine Brooks, right? So, and then we also have a couple other guys that have great shows too. Dan Greenwood, he does a lot of install related videos showing people how to use and install and tricks and all these things that really help the dealers, especially with like DSP. DSP is a complicated animal, and he's really done a lot of videos that show people the benefits, how to use them, how to set them up, and that's really been beneficial for our dealers.
And I might add, I mean, he did a great video back during our fall workshops that showed, the install, the basic setup of the DSP. And I think it's important to note, of the source unit brands, Alpine's the one with the DSP solution as well. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. I'm not going to let you go without asking this question. I know there's so much rumbling in the background. Alpine's been kind of sneaking at a couple things. I've seen a couple teaser posts on the Facebook page. So I'm just going to ask you, Eric, what is coming down the pipe from the Alpine camp, man? Can you share with us any more right now?
I would love to. The future is bright. You may have heard about F1 status making a resurgence. So basically the ultimate in sound reproduction for the vehicle. Stay tuned for that, and we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. There's going to be a lot of great technologies and things that we find with F1 that
maybe a little trickle down effect. Maybe a little trickle down effect.
We'll see. It's raining outside right now, so there's something trickling down.
Might be a little trickle down. Gotcha. We'll keep it at that. I'll stop there. I think you've given us a hint there. Eric, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I mean, real refresher course on what's Alpine all about, and seeing that there's some innovative features and benefits that Alpine's really worked hard in separating themselves within the category. That power stack design is certainly very unique in the introduction of Halo a couple of years ago, and now F1 status, some trickle down. We'll see where that goes. But anyhow, thank you so much, sir. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, Ben.
Take care. All right, so that was Eric Brooks, the new training manager over at Alpine Electronics. Our next brand, another huge electronics brand globally, literally has their footprint in multiple different categories. Today, we're talking about car audio. It's also distributed in Canada by Gentech, and of course, I'm talking about Sony. Now, the guys at Sony and our guest here, Chris Bula, who's their national trainer, was busy at SEMA, but I did corner him and get a chance to pre-record an interview with him. And here's what went down with Chris Bula from Sony. Hey, Chris, thanks so much for making the time. I know you're busy with everything that's going on, but we're always appreciative when you can make the time to come join us here on CMA Live.
Hey, Ben, thanks a lot for inviting us. We love being a part of the CMA effort to get information out to the retailers, so we're happy to be a part of this.
The first thing I want to ask you, Sony's such a big brand globally. It has its reach in so many different categories and markets. But what we want to hear is the story when it comes to Sony's history in the source unit category.
Well, yeah, Ben, you're right. So, we are in probably 25 different categories, in all sorts of different types of environments, from, sound recording, movie production, home theater, movie theater production, all of that stuff, right? But, our bread and butter here is with the car audio side. And obviously, we are a Sony Japanese manufacturer, and we're known for our head units, always have been. And that history goes back, I don't even know the exact date, but probably 40 or 50 years in terms of making head units to go into vehicles, right? And through that history, we've had kind of a ton of firsts, some of the first CD players that were ever available in a vehicle, of course, Sony mini disc, just a lot of different examples of kind of cutting edge technology, something that might be a little bit different, a little bit more unique in the market, that really tried to provide the customer with the best sound experience and the best usability and performance experience that was possible in a vehicle. Today's no exception. We have a lot of audio video head units. We've still got our singled in audio units. We have some marine head units, just a lot of kind of good technology within that. And we just now announced, and we're about to ship our XAV 9500 ES, our first mobile ES head unit in the reintroduction of that brand to the North American market.
And that's a lot of something that people don't realize is exactly how long Sony's been in that game. And that gives, a brand like Sony a lot of history to lean back on and some scope of vision of where it's going. So speaking of that, we're talking about the offering that's available right now. You mentioned a couple of things. Let's dive in a little bit deeper, for retailers to know, what exactly can they expect from Sony when it comes to the source unit category? What is the offering?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a ton of stuff that's available. And I say that figuratively, obviously, with these supply, issues that we've been experiencing for a long time now. We're doing the best we can to have things in stock, but we have debuted a new 7-inch screen head unit at a budget price point, just kind of an entry level unit. But the one that's really kind of taking the headlines right now is that new Mobile ES head unit I mentioned earlier, the XAV 9500 ES. This is kind of, if you remember the old RSX GS9, just that head unit that kind of set the bar for high audio or high res audio reproduction in a vehicle. This is kind of the logical evolution of that head unit. The GS9 was great. I mean, it was like a performance built machine. It was pretty specific to what it was supposed to do and what it could do. But because of that, it was a little bit harder to use, right? A little bit more complicated. No CarPlay, Android Auto, of course, those are the new things that everybody wants in a vehicle. So none of that functionality was there. So that GS9 over time kind of became less and less desirable for many users. This XAV 9500 ES is pretty spectacular because it has the sound quality and audio and sound reproduction benefits that the GS9 had. But it also brings forth all of that digital technology that people require nowadays. Wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, Sirius XM, all of the great features that somebody expects to have in a vehicle nowadays.
There's no doubt in my mind that new unit is making headlines everywhere. Everybody wants one. Heck, I might even hit you up. But there is such a great list of features, and to see Mobile ES come back into the lineup through the Sony brand is something that it's what the industry thrives on. It's that new injection of energy, right? And then we do appreciate that. But what dealers really want to know is if they're looking at Sony as a brand from the source unit perspective, what are some of the key features or benefits that make the overall line unique?
So it's a great question. I mean, a head unit is a head unit and it is a head unit, right? I mean, typically nowadays when you kind of have a budget in mind as if you're a consumer, you kind of have, a selection of product to choose from. And when it gets to that level, you're kind of choosing the features or maybe the looks, maybe some, functionality that might be a little bit different on one versus another. So you can kind of become a face in the crowd pretty quick at that point. But one of the reasons we kind of stand apart from some of the crowd with that is ease of use. I mean, our Sony radios have a cross media icon bar on them. So there's no weird, complicated menus you have to go through to try to get to a certain functionality. Very simple interface. You click an icon that has a certain function assigned to it. You know what it's supposed to do, so it works every time. And just very quick and easy setup. From an installation standpoint, we have a singled in on top and empty on the bottom design on the chassis. And most of those units are shallow mount. So you can actually get these head units in a lot of different vehicles that you can't get other decks that are a full doubled in, or even some of the other kind of third tier oversized chassis ones that are a little bit harder to kind of tuck into some of those kits or into some of those applications. So those things are pretty awesome, in and of themselves. But we also love kind of a tactile experience, and we love beautiful screens. We're Sony. With our movie productions, our Sony TV, design and engineering, there's just a lot of effort that goes into high quality AV production, right? And our screens are no exception. They're gorgeous to look at. If you haven't seen them in person, go find a shop that's got them to kind of witness them yourselves. Call up Gentech up there. It's in Canada to get a unit in stock. Try it out. See what you think, right? The tactile functionality I talked about, we always have pretty specific buttons on our units, so the user can very quickly interface with the volume and track and other kind of really necessary functions while you're driving. Soft buttons and screen buttons are okay for one-time use type things, but when you're trying to adjust the volume or do something on the fly as you're driving, can be very complicated to try to find that button and make sure you're pressing it and then keep pressing it to get that desired effect. So that's why we kind of focus on that tactile experience, and we'll continue doing that as we go forward.
So, the conversation goes as such, and I really was curious. Sony's such a big brand as far as car audio is concerned. My question was simple. What about as a business partner? Do they even care? Is it such a small category that we kind of get tucked under the rug, or how is that in the grander scheme of things? And here's what Chris answered. You present some pretty strong cases there, Mr. Beulah, and we do appreciate you for listing those. But, from a business standpoint, what do dealers expect, or what should they expect with partnering up with a brand like Sony in the source unit category?
So that's a great question, Ben. And frankly, that's one of my favorite ones to answer. The benefits of being a Sony retailer, and this is perfect world, right? When everything's in stock and everything's good to go, are the fact that we support you so well as a specialist retailer. Specialist retailers make up way more than 50% of our business. So we have to listen to you guys. And the feedback that we get from our retailers helps design future product. It helps improve our support mechanisms. Just a lot of things that go along with that. We're very focused on you making money as a retailer. And there's multiple ways we can do that. One of those is we protect everything with our map pricing. So anything online that you see, all of our pricing is very well protected. We're pretty vehement about protecting that and contacting and shutting down any violations of that. That's less a problem right now, simply because the supply doesn't meet the demand yet. So the prices are a little bit higher than MAP usually, but at the end of the day, you're very well protected on that front. And then listen, at the end of the day, these things are easier to install in most cases, right? So simple functionality, easy to troubleshoot if there's something going wrong, easy to put into a kit. We've got a tech support line, 855 Sony 12V, that's dedicated to retail support. And you'll get one of my team on there. We're all MECP certified. We know the fit and function and all the troubleshooting features of our deck, so we can very quickly get you an answer to your problem. You're not talking to a help desk overseas. You're not talking about some sort of person who kind of sitting at a desk all day and doesn't know about putting something into a vehicle or trying to make something work. So we've got your back covered as a retailer on those fronts. So I think it's a pretty good case. I think any other Sony retailer could pipe up and say the same things, right? So speak with your brethren out there who are carrying Sony products and find out what their experiences are. Okay.
And I'm very happy, Chris, that you mentioned your partner in Canada for distribution, Gentech. I mean, they are your exclusive distributor right across the board. And they do have, some of the most exceptional service out there from some of the dealers, the feedback that I've received. And this last question is coming, and it's always fun when I get to ask this question because let's be honest. I mean, Sony just came up with some new toys this year, right, in the Mobile ES line. But I'm going to ask it anyways, Chris. Tell me what you can. What is next for Sony products moving forward in the source unit category? Can you give us an inkling of what's coming down the pipe?
Another easy question, Ben. I wish you'd ask me something hard. This is super simple. So the 9500 that we've talked about a couple of times now is our new platform. It's our new kind of flagship line or model. And it's got the wireless CarPlay, Android Auto. It's got Maestro. It's got all kinds of sound processing features. Of course, our infamous 5-volt pre-outs, all of those features are in that deck, right? The cool thing is we're kind of like Cadillac to GM, where when you see a feature or some sort of benefits at that level, eventually the Chevys and the Buicks get those same features, right? So there is kind of a trickle-down effect to the features that you'll see in that 9500 to both other Mobile ES products in the future, as well as our core line products as well. So you will see some of our core line units that have expanded functionality, both on CarPlay and Android Auto side, some Untitled Maestro pieces coming out, just a lot of really cool things that are coming down the pipe. And then I know we're talking about source units, but I don't want to amplify anybody's expectations, but we've got some really cool things coming next summer on the Mobile ES line.
Not want to amplify my expectations, huh? Well done, Mr. Beulah. Hey, I want to thanks so much, Chris, for making the time to join us today at the CMA Live. We always appreciate you, man. And good luck. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you guys. Take care.
So there you have it. That was Chris Beulah from Sony with some pretty cool news, a little bit of hint at the end. So I want to thank him for taking the time. And of course, Sony products in Canada, available through Gentech International. Moving on to our next brand, which I could probably say is one of the newcomers to the category. You know, they haven't been making source units for a long time, like a very long time, I guess. It's been the last couple of years, but their take on it is super special and interesting. Of course, I'm talking about Stinger Electronics, which is a brand from AMP Global. If you're a Canadian retailer, you want to reach out to either Gentech again or Automobility when it comes to Stinger products. Another gentleman that's super busy, Jeff Smith, who is their director of training events. When I caught up with him, he was in the middle of setting up for SEMA, but I did get a chance to corner him and ask him a few questions about Stinger in the head or source unit category. Here's what he said. You know, when it comes to the source unit category, a lot of people didn't know that Stinger would be such a big player, but man, have they made their mark. And here to join us today is, of course, their national trainer, Jeff Smith from AMP Global, and of course, Stinger brand, talking about the Stinger lineup of products in the source unit category. What's going on, Jeff?
Hey, Ben, all's good here, man. Just enjoying the time of year where we're showing off some new stuff in the source unit category and taking some time from the day we've spent at SEMA so far.
Yeah, I mean, first out of the gate, thank you for taking the time. You know, I know you're so busy setting up when we're recording this. You were setting up for SEMA, but it's so important that you took the time, and we're happy to have you because I know you got some goods for us today or news for us today. We're going to get to that. So let's tell the people, Stinger in the source unit category. Give us a little bit of background in the history of when Stinger got involved in this category.
Well, what a lot of people don't know is that AMP Global's history with Source Unit goes back to our acquisition of Rosen back in 2015. Rosen was a electronics company that we have since sold the brand off, but the engineering team that came from Rosen was miles ahead of a lot of the competition, not even understanding integration of a head unit into the vehicle platform. So once we brought that company under the AMP umbrella, it took a few years to kind of mold that process into what we finally developed into the Elevate and now High 10. So in 2019, actually we showed it December of 18 and actually really put it out in the marketplace in January of 2019, the current head unit offering that is making such big waves within the industry. So it's been a process that's been within the family for a while, but now we've polished it and have come to the point where we have an offering that is second to none between head unit and vehicle integration.
And you see, you said it right there, which makes your offering from AMP Global so unique, is because not only do you have the source unit, you also have the integration components to make it into a full system, to make it function for these customers. So let's talk about that. What is exactly, specifically, the offering in the head unit category, source unit category from Stinger AMP?
Well, currently, the offering is going to be the UN1810 High 10 10-inch modular infotainment system. What makes this kit really unique is the fact that we have the ability to put it into almost any installation format. Seeing as how the chassis of the unit is a regular DIN size chassis, but then the screen itself is a very thin screen that can be mounted in almost any scenario. So we have the ability to mount this in a single DIN and double DIN application, but we take it even a bit further when we combine this head unit with our pack integration capabilities. Now, taking this another step, we then have the ability to make vehicle-specific dash kit applications. And we actually make our own kits, Ben, because of a different part of our company, the American International part, where we actually build dash kits. So this allows us to take vehicle applications like this one for the Jeep JL that's been a huge hit within the industry. We also offer the GM platform for Sierra and Silverado, Jeep JK. There's a few others that are blanking on me right now, but the Ram, yeah, that's what it is, the SRK Ram kit for the newer style Rams. So yeah, so you have the ability to now take this kit and mold the head unit into it to make it fit factory within the dash as if it was meant to be there. So instead of having a normal floating head unit or having a standard just flush double DIN, you now have a 10-inch screen that will fit that vehicle like no other head unit that you've ever seen in the marketplace.
And those head units are literally making waves. We see them in so many installs popping up, especially in those applications that you just mentioned, Jeff. you started talking about the integration pieces between Pac and your kits. Talk to us a little bit more about some unique features that really make these two units, Elevate and the High 10, really stand out in the source unit category.
Right. So one of the very unique features of the High 10 is what we call our Pac-Link Port. Being that Pac is our integration company, we now have the ability to pipe all of the vehicle information that we can get from the vehicle's CAN bus directly into the Pac-Link port on the head unit itself. The other thing we have the ability to do is also take advantage of the HDMI input. When we use modules like what we have here from our Pac integration kits, we have our Radio Pro Advanced modules that allow us to connect into all the standard power connections and also tap into the vehicle's data bus or CAN bus system, and then be able to transfer that information around through our Pac-Link module and be able to then send this information to the actual head unit. Then we have the ability in some scenarios to actually take the newer style high definition, full high resolution backup cameras in like a Jeep JL and other vehicles and send that back into our head unit via the HDMI input. This is not a standard composite video input, Ben. This is going to take the OEM FARCRA input and then send it out of the HDMI. And what's really neat about this is that when we use this type of scenario, this is going to add cameras to the High 10. Now, the High 10 already has 4 independent inputs for cameras. So when you add the OEM cameras to the vehicle through the HD1 module, it now allows you to have 5 or even 6 cameras, depending upon the vehicle platform. But that HDMI and Pac-Link features are only a few of the very important features in the High 10. From a huge industry standpoint, seeing as how we have in what we call now the DSP age, one of the most unique features on the High 10 is going to be a variable volume toslink output. Now, Ben, that toslink output is going to be 100% noise-free digital audio communication from the High 10 to any DSP or DSP amplifier that has a toslink input, which is a huge hit because it is variable volume. Typically, toslink inputs are going to be fixed level. Ours is variable volume according to the radio's output. So all the standards, front rear sub RCA, 4-volt output, 15 band adjustable graphic EQ, crossover adjustment, time correction, everything you can find in a head unit, along with having the ability to have a very high quality screen, can be found in the Stinger UN1810.
God, I gotta tell you, Jeff, you're putting up some pretty strong arguments here with some unique features that the High 10 has to offer. But from a business standpoint, I'm a dealer. I've been doing business with some of these brands that are presenting tonight. Why should I take a closer look and maybe elevate my relationship with Stinger moving forward in the head unit category?
Yeah, so Ben, one of the things that we try to help dealers understand, being able to offer your consumers a alternative to a standard double DIN application. They may want a larger screen. They may want more of an integrated type of installation. And that's one of the things we took into consideration when we started making these combination pieces. The fact that our dash kits are built specifically for some of the most fast moving and most popular vehicles you're going to find in your shop: the Sierra Silverado, Jeep JK, Jeep JL, Ram truck, and a few other vehicles that we're going to talk about. But this is one of the things that we are going to continue to have all the standard features: CarPlay, Android Auto, reverse camera input, even add front and left and right blind spot camera input, HDMI input, Bluetooth audio streaming, all the audio features, everything. Stinger is not trying to displace the core head unit products that are in the industry and we've known for years. We are offering our dealers an alternative for a more integrated option that will give your customers a experience that will allow them to do above and beyond what any other manufacturer is going to allow them to do. So we're just another option to our vendor partners in order to give them something else to sell their customers.
So, of course, Jeff is at SEMA right now, and there was no way I was going to let him go, without at least giving me a hint of what they were showing at SEMA. And here's what he had to share. Man, I gotta say, you got some incredible points. It really shows that the team at AMP have done their due diligence and done the research to come out with the features and benefits that'll make these units really stand out in a showroom and in a soundboard setting. Okay, I know you're at SEMA. I know you're setting up, so of course I'm going to go for it here, Jeff. What can you share with us? What's new coming from Stinger and the AMP camp when it comes to the source unit category?
Well, Ben, it's SEMA time, so it's no longer a secret. We are debuting two new, very exciting kits, part of our high 10 and integrated uh, kit series. The first of that, Ben, is going to be the new integration kit for the 2015 and up Chrysler, Dodge, Charger, Challenger 300 family of vehicles. So this is going to now allow the high 10 to be flushed into the dash, have the ability to still integrate in the Radio Pro Advance with the Pac-Link module to give you vehicle data information on the screen, climate control information on the screen of the 2015 to 2021 Charger, Challenger 300 from the Chrysler Dodge family. Other than that, Ben, a very exciting product that I'm really happy to see because this is a huge market. We are also showing our new dash kit for the Toyota Tacoma 2016 to 2021 Tacoma that's going to allow the same high 10 head unit to float right into the dash of that Toyota Tacoma. This particular kit does not, it does have a Radio Pro in the packaging, but it is not a SRK. SRKs are the ones that actually include the pack link to give you vehicle data on the head unit itself. But the current Tacoma offering does not offer pack link integration yet. So just be happy that we have two new kits that we're showing you guys, and hopefully you guys can come by the booth or you'll see some press releases in the next day or so on these two very exciting kits.
Man, I have a feeling we might have to circle back and get a closer look on these kits for sure. Jeff, thank you so much for sharing this information with us. Thank you for being on the show and sharing with us a little bit of the Stinger product, the Elevate and the High 10 in the source unit category. And you know what? Thanks to you for making the time. And you know, for products you guys are interested, make sure you check out their distributor partners in automobility and Gentech International in Canada for all these great products. Thanks again, Jeff.
Not a problem, Ben. Good to see you.
So I want to thank Jeff for taking the time. I know he's at SEMA, but man, we're already at the end of the hour. We're down to our last guest, and I want to really give a cool introduction to this last brand because this last brand, man, has been in the game from the get-go. And I'm sure you know our next guest is going to give us the rundown and the story. But what an evolution this brand has undergone in the last. I'm going to call it the last 9 months to a year. This brand has been making a lot of noise. It's been popping up in places that many might find surprising, and there's a reason for it. And he's here to tell us the whole story of what is going on with the movement and evolution of Boss Elite. That's right, Boss Elite source units. Let's get their Vice President of Sales, Mr. Doug Kern, online with us so we could have this discussion. Mr. Kern, how are you,
Hello,
sir?
Ben. I'm doing real good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's
thank you.
an honor to be here in good company.
Well, I'll tell you, some of the best and brightest are on this show, and we have you anchoring the show. And you know, I did my best to kind of pique people's interest with this little introduction to you being on the show. And I'm going to give you every opportunity right here, Doug. You represent Boss Elite. Tell us the story of Boss Elite in the source unit category.
All right, Ben. Well, first of all, Boss Audio has been around since 1987. Been a long time, gone through a lot of different phases of where it's been placed. In 2016, we introduced Boss Elite. And the idea of Boss Elite was to take similar like models of our best-selling Boss products, but limit who we sell them to and protect it with enforced MAP pricing. We did that, we launched it. Didn't put it, but we're real careful who we sold it to, about online and so forth, retail partners, and it's been a real success. In 2016, we only had 9 models of source units. Basic CD, mechless, few multimedia models, couple navigation models, but that was it. In our year 5 this year, we're up to 28 models of source units, 22 which are multimedia screens. 6 of them are basic CD, double DIN, single DIN, and mechless, single DIN, and double DIN. But the growth and where it's really become our strength, of those 22 multimedia models, 11 are CarPlay Android Auto models from various sizes. 6.2 CarPlay only, and then going on to the CarPlay and Android Auto models of 6.5 inch, 6.75, and 7 inch. And then we have come out with a 9 inch floating head unit and a 10.1, which has been delivering for most of the year, both of those, and doing extremely well. The other brands, a lot of them are having great success with the larger screens, and we have seen the same results. One thing we do, we take most of our models, not all, but most of them, we offer them also in a package with a rear license plate camera. This has been real strong for those key good retail partners that are basically online, that consumer sees it, gets it all in one purchase. The dealer, the specialty stores that buy through our distribution, which in Canada is Jemson.
We should absolutely mention that Jemson is the Boss Elite distributor in Canada for you Canadian dealers who are tuning in.
Correct. So with those type of dealers, they want to have that camera kind of separate to do the add-on sale. But we've been very successful with the head unit and camera packages.
So it sounds like, Boss has come a long way. It literally has been around for how long did you say?
We're in our 35th year.
35 years. I mean,
34th year. Sorry.
And and in that time, a company learns a lot to thrive today, to be able to come out with a higher level brand with the map pricing, like you suggested, but also to keep in tune with the current trends. You mentioned those floating screens, man. Those are super popular right now, and you hit the nail on the head. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, major selling feature. Talk to us a little bit about some key features out of these top sellers that you really want dealers to know about and to consider Boss Elite, who maybe they haven't, really considered until right now.
Well, again, we are a opening price point line. The previous brands that are on here, all great brands, all dealers need those type of brands. We have always been in a position, and especially with Boss Elite, we're offering an opening price point product line, especially on this CarPlay Android Auto products, that basically performance-wise, a CarPlay, you're going to see basically the same image. Some functionality may differ a little bit, and that might be where some of the price difference is. But in our CarPlay Android, I mentioned we have from 6.5 up to 10.1, with and without camera. A big portion of that business is moving to the wireless CarPlay. Most of those models, we've only had 1 or 2 models of wireless, but we are making all the sizes with wireless feature going into 2022. We'll be expanding into bigger sizes for 2022. We're bringing in a 11.6 inch.
11.6, wow.
And a 14 inch. So those will probably be end of first quarter, sometimes second quarter, but those are all in the works. Some of those are still in certification process, but outside of the CarPlay Android, we have a mix of regular multimedia navigation models and still a handful of CD and necklace models.
Okay. Now, I have to commend Boss Elite on one thing. I've had the chance to speak with you on a couple occasions now. You guys know who you are, right?
Yeah.
There were brands on here today just shooting out the latest cutting edge technologies and stuff that's like, really just up and coming. But Boss Elite knows their identity, understands their place in the market. And in a time like now, I want to touch on this because you've made it a point in an effort to communicate this through Jemson and to the dealers. Inventory is healthy.
Yes. And we've benefited in the situation over the past couple of years of the shortages out there. We've got an incredible purchasing team in our offices in China. Sourcing, we've been able to go out and source product, building at different sub-factories, not just all in one, counting on one. We've been able to secure our own parts rather than relying on the factories to find the parts and build products. So we have really geared up, and we've been very fortunate of our delivery, and it's given us the opportunity with a lot of dealers that typically wouldn't have brought Boss in, but they've brought it in. They needed product. They've tried it. It works. We offer a great warranty. We stand behind it.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about that. From a business perspective, Doug, I'm a dealer. You have my interest. You've got inventory. You've got some great product. lots of selection, a couple of the trends with the big screens, Apple CarPlay, check. But as a business partner, give me a snapshot of what I can expect if I was to become a Boss Elite dealer.
Well, you're going to find out that one reason we've been around for 34 years is we take care of our customers. We take care of the consumer. Always have. In the different phases of our company, that's why we're still around. So many brands have come and gone. We take care of the customer, whether it's a glitch in the product, there's issues in any issues. We value our customers, our partnerships, and we take care of them. As
you mentioned the warranty. I want to circle back to that. What's the warranty
the
like
warranty
on these units?
On Boss Elite, on all the source units, 3-year warranty. Just for the dealer, they have the choice: over-the-counter exchange, return it for credit, replacement of new, or have the consumer send directly to us. They get a new unit back. So we stand behind that. And again, it's giving the consumer great features. It's the old saying of the big bang for big buck. The big bang for the buck.
For the small buck. How's that?
Yeah. So they're getting the product. That dealer, they don't want to let a customer that only has a limited amount of money walk. They take care of that customer with our opening price point product. That customer is going to come back in a couple years when he's got more money, and he wants all the cutting edge, newest technology from one of the previous brands that we're on.
Very, very cool. And so you mentioned Apple CarPlay, right? You mentioned, these are all Bluetooth as well, and hands-free, like all the typical features that you would find in multiple multimedia units, I should say.
Correct.
We talked about the inventory. We talked about the map pricing. I think we should just focus on that one more time, if you don't mind expanding on that a little bit.
Yeah. So on our map pricing, all the product is mapped. We use a company called Track Street Enforcement to police and enforce. So they're out there policing online. They're policing all the pricing. They send out notifications. We get notified. We send warnings. So we've done a pretty good job. It's with online, I don't know if it'll ever be 100%, but we are probably at a good 90-95% enforcement rate and do a pretty good job. So it's a line with that the dealers are, it's a profitable line for them. Again, with that, again, we talked about the key delivery of our success these days is our delivery. Maybe not 100%. We've had our issues too, but we've been very fortunate.
Yeah, and so I've heard the feedback is coming back in. The last question of the night from the last guest, which is yourself. Can you share with us a little bit of what's coming down the pipe? Because you guys seem like you're a little bit, on fire. So I'm sure there's, the gears have been, working pretty hard in the R&D side of things.
Yeah, we got a lot going on with the success. And over the last 2 years, Boss has really taken a pivotal step in a great direction. And the name is known out there. It's got a presence. So we have hired on, we've got a good size engineering team here at our corporate office in California and in China. So we're not just over buying product off the shelf. We're part of the engineering team. We've brought in great people that have great success with other brands that are very high up there. But we expect continued growth. We expect continued quality upgrades and enhanced added features. I can't really mention some, but we are under the certification process for new features to be added in 2022. These revolve around tuning abilities and sound processing and so forth. So the key also for 2022, our total model count in source units will be around 50 models.
Wow,
total.
50 models. So big catalog, lots of options and choices to cater to whatever dealer out there, and some pending certifications from a couple key features that could up the game and status and feature set of your catalog. I'll say it like that. How about that?
Sounds good. Sounds great.
Amazing, Doug. Congratulations, and we wish you the continued success that you're enjoying right now. It's a great time to be doing it. Guys, if you're tuning in and you're interested in getting more information from Boss Elite, make sure you get a hold of their Canadian distributor, gemsen.com. Doug,
Let me just show you real quick. I forgot to show. This is our 10.1 inch panel. Comes it's a single DIN.
It comes off.
Okay, so that mounts. It also comes with brackets for double DIN mounting. So once this is mounted, this just plugs right in there. It's got the feature going left to right, up and down, and that's it.
That's a big screen that people would like.
You'll see this in style in a 7-inch, 8-inch, 9-inch, 10.1, 11.6, and a 14.
A 14.
So a lot coming up. Yeah.
14. Crazy. Doug, always a good time, man. Thank you for making time, man.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the night.
All right. Talk to you soon. That was Mr. Doug Kern from Boss Elite. Maybe your next option. Who knew? Who would have thunk? 14-inch screens coming from Boss Elite. Yes, sir. Thanks for if you hung in this far. I hope you enjoyed the show. I mean, we really do our best to try to give you a snapshot and the best variety to kind of get your brain going and understand what's going on in each themed category show that we do. But when it comes to source units, yeah, it's been a tough year for a lot of companies. It's not their fault. There's shortages. The amount of accidents and weird disasters that have happened is just unprecedented. But it's good to see that the brain is still going, the gears are still clicking, and man, 2022 hopefully is brighter and moving forward because it's important. The demand is there, and it's good to see that these brands are out there making it happen with the limited resources that they have at the moment. So I want to take this opportunity to thank all our guests and all our brands that joined us tonight, giving us a little bit of insight in the source unit category. I want to remind everybody to tune in, because we're not just here, every 2 weeks. We're online with CMA Connected every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's a lunchtime learning session with yours truly. We go one-on-one with specific brands. You want to tune in this Friday? We got a special one. JL Audio just launched their brand new software, DSP tool. We got Steve Teresi on with us. We're going to answer all your questions. Make sure you tune on Friday this week at noon. In 2 short weeks, yes, we're going to be back, of course, for our very next CMA Live. It's the second to last one of the season. It's going to be a big one. It's all about OEM integration. Brands like Maestro, Pac, Metra, Audio Control, and even WaveTech will all be in the house talking about everything that's new in the OEM integration category. That's it. Thanks for tuning in once again for CMA Live presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. I hope you enjoyed the show, guys. Until next time, we connect.
Hey, Kevin, do you want some lasagna?
Basically like a barrel.
I made lasagna. What? I made lasagna.
Who's Tanya?
What?
What?
Kevin, do you want some lasagna?
You stepped in what?
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 What? What?
I made lasagna.
Tomorrow is mañana.
What?